Ever feel like you're just fundamentally not getting how your partner thinks, especially when it comes to men?
Oh, definitely. It's a common feeling, like trying to read a manual written in a different language sometimes.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into that. We're looking at the male perspective in relationships, guided by Dr. Shawn Smith's book, The Woman's Guide to How Men Think.
Yeah, it's a really insightful book.
Our mission here isn't just, surface level tips. We want to get into the core motivations, especially for what the book calls good men in love and commitment, hopefully giving you some genuinely useful insights.
Okay, so right off the bat, one of the big ideas is this male need to feel effective.
Effective? How so?
Well, it's like a core driver, feeling capable, useful, particularly in roles like providing and protecting.
Ah, okay. So it's less about just feeling loved and more about doing things that make them feel competent within the relationship.
Exactly. And this often means they show love through actions, acts of service,
Yeah.
rather than always saying it with words.
So when he spends hours fixing something, or maybe helps you solve a tricky problem, that could be his way of showing care. His, I love you.
Precisely. It ties into their sense of status, responsibility, their role, really. Have you ever noticed that? Where your partner's actions seem to be their primary love language?
Yeah, definitely. Thinking about it that way,
Hmm.
it does shift how you might interpret things, doesn't it?
It really can. And, well, this difference often shows up big time in communication and problem solving.
Okay, how so?
Men often lean towards a more internal, analytical way of dealing with problems. The book kind of jokingly calls it mangineering.
Huh, engineering. I like
Right.
that. So like taking it apart in their head first.
Yeah, exactly. Goal-oriented, find the solution, which can mean they might withdraw during a conflict while, women might prefer to talk it through, process it verbally together.
Right. And that can feel like pulling away, can't it? When maybe they're just thinking, processing internally.
It often is. And this difference is a major contributor to that classic demand withdrawal pattern you see in couples.
Oh, yeah. Where one person pushes for connection or discussion and the other pulls back.
That's the one. Does that dynamic ring any bells for you, listening? If you think about this mangineering idea, what might really be going on under the surface there?
It's a good question. And related to that, I suppose, is how emotions are handled.
Absolutely. The book argues men feel things just as deeply, but, socialization often teaches them to mask vulnerability.
So what we see on the outside might not be the whole story.
Not at all. You might see anger or silence or defensiveness, but that could be a secondary reaction covering up something deeper.
Like what?
Maybe insecurity or fear of failure or feeling inadequate, a fear of letting their partner down, perhaps.
So that sharp reaction might actually be hiding something, well, much softer underneath.
Often, yes. The advice is to try and look behind the scenes, respond to the likely underlying emotion, not just the surface reaction.
That takes some real empathy, doesn't it? In perspective. Can you maybe think back to a time when a partner's reaction seemed off, maybe angry or withdrawn? Could there have been something else going on? How might you approach that differently now, knowing this?
It's a powerful shift, and it connects to another point the book makes about acceptance.
Acceptance.
Yeah, you know how sometimes the very traits that drew you to someone
Uh-huh.
can become sources of conflict later on? Like maybe his strong, silent type felt mysterious at first, but now it feels like stonewalling.
Or his confidence now feels like stubbornness.
Yeah.
I get that.
Exactly. So the book stresses the importance of acceptance, not accepting bad behavior. Let's be clear on that.
Right. Absolutely. Not tolerating disrespect or harm.
No, but accepting some of those fundamental innate personality traits rather than constantly trying to change the person's core nature.
That's a big one.
Hmm.
It's easy to fall into trying to fix our partners, isn't it? Have any traits you once admired become friction points for you? How might thinking with acceptance change how you view that?
Food for thought, definitely. And look, the book does offer some practical strategies too, sort of like learning to speak Manese.
Okay, like what? Give us a quick example.
Well, one key thing is being really specific and direct about your needs, instead of a vague, you never help out around here.
Which can sound like an attack, yeah?
Right. Try something concrete like, hey, it would be a huge help if you could take out the trash tonight. It's actionable, non-accusatory.
Clear and direct. Makes sense. Other things too, like accepting small gestures after a fight. Understanding silence isn't always bad.
Exactly. And showing appreciation in ways that actually land well for him. It's about bridging that gap.
So wrapping this up then, the core idea seems to be that really understanding these potential, often typical differences in motivation, communication, emotional expression can actually build stronger relationships.
Yeah, it fosters more harmony, more partnership. You start valuing the different strengths instead of seeing them as problems.
It moves away from my way is the right way.
Totally. It becomes about our way working together.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on. Based on these insights, what's maybe one small shift, just one you could try in how you communicate or what you expect
Hmm.
that might create a bit more understanding with your partner?
Something to reflect on.
Definitely. Thanks for diving into this with us today.